Hey there, community members. I want to go through this video and just touch on a little bit of the trades that we actually took this week, and some of the trade ideas that we actually missed. To start here, we have the 1 hour time frame, which we know this is the time frame that all the entries were sent from. And then we have some trades that we actually took. This first one here was an accident, was not sent out to all you guys. Then we have the first 3 trades which we covered, which were losses. If I just go to GJ here, I think I should be able to drag this and just drop it on and have the coordinates put onto the chart. So we tried to take a trade right here in this area, and the whole move that I was looking at and I was playing from was actually this low right here to the swing high. Okay, and we know the way that we're using this method to actually look for our entries is basically to identify the support, and we're looking for its price to break through and then continue back to the upside. So in this case, it did end up going in our intended direction, but by all means, given the entry that we got, our stop loss was pulled. And then by the by the E2 level, we would have gotten another entry, which would have hit our stop loss as well. But then we would have been able to get in on the re-entry to actually go to the upside. We missed out on all of that. We missed out on losing the other trade, which we would have there. And then the re-entry missed out on there. So that's it really for that day. This here is Friday. So Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So that was about Monday that we missed out on that opportunity. By all means, as price continued through Tuesday, there weren't too much of an opportunity. And then there was this opportunity here that I missed. I seen it after right around this area here. And by then it was already too late. We weren't going to get a really good risk to reward on that trade. So didn't want to jump into that trade just all willy-nilly like that. So I've seen the potential for the low to the high and a pullback right to the E2 level, and then we would have had our stop loss placed down here. We would have been able to get just about a risk 1 to gain 3 level, but that was a missed trade. Only something that we can work on for next week to actually be able to pick up on that trade. Later on, so we have this buy trade that ended up being a loss. Let me drag and drop this on here as well. And that's actually right here. So we did try to take the trade at the E2 level as well. As we can see by our results, that resulted in a loss. And then the only trade that we missed out on was the re-entry, the closed candle re-entry to go back to the upside, which is human error, which is a normal thing. Our trading plan accounts for all these things, whether it's going to be missed trades, lost trades, break-even trades, small losses. They should not account for big losses because big losses should not be a part of our system. But nonetheless, all these things are always accounted for, okay? So moving on from there, we have this entry that we are just currently still in. We're waiting to get to the T1 level to actually have our take profit hit. So here we have our nice entry at the E1 level. We measured the low to the high, pulled back to this area, and now we're making our way back to the actual T1 level. Ever since we passed the S, we were able to move to break even. Yeah, but we're still following up. I believe I will close this trade somewhat into next week within the first 10 hours or so. Okay, so that's really just taking a look at this trade here. So if we pop into GU, let's take a look at the first trade. So here is our first loss. We'll just drag and drop that on. And we can see that this was our whole trade idea. So if we just go from the swing low to the swing high, we can see that this was the trade idea that we missed. We did not get into a trade right around this area, or I believe, yes, we did. If I just drag this one on as well. Okay, so beautiful, beautiful trade. Let's move this. And here we can essentially see that our first losing trade that occurred right here was more so based on this actual projection from this low to this high, a smaller range, which is something that we have to be aware of. We have smaller ranges and we have larger ranges. So this smaller range at the E2 level ended up having its stop loss blown right in its respected area. and that is a fine thing. So once we actually had our stop loss blown there, we would have went through and actually expanded our fib ratio, pulling down to this area, which we can see we got into our position, and actually went right up to our TP area. Beautiful, beautiful trade. And then we pulled back down for another re-entry, which is the trade that we are in now. And we are still so close to our TP area, which we do plan to hit very shortly. Again, this one is about 10 hours into the next day, which I am willing to hold before we will close this trade. I believe this trade or one of these trades are risk one for 5.3, and one of these trades are risk one for 9. Let's just pop into the community real quick so we can actually see some of the trades that we're taking. So you can see that these trade alerts are being sent and just updated. And basically we can see that our risk to reward is being taken care of. Our risk to reward is being tracked, so we know how much we're winning, how much we're losing, what is the actual risk to reward ratio that is being kept at the end of the trade, whether that is a negative or positive. So all in all, we can basically see out of these 4 trades that we actually took, 3 of them ended up being losers. One of them actually closed as a winner. This gave us profitable 97 pips. Sorry, we made 128, and then these 3 deductions. So this is why we have to keep risk to reward in our minds and just be aware that we need to risk less to gain more. Us having a minimum standard of risk 1 to gain 3 just allows us to compensate for our future losses and our past losses and things just of that nature, okay? So remember, we're still holding 2 positions, which are right here. We will account for these as these week's positions when we actually get to close these within the next 10 hours of the market. And by then we should at least, I would imagine we at least add 1 R minimum to this, so we can have 4.5 R or something of the sort. But that's really it for this, guys. So we ended up having about 3 winning trades and 3 losing trades, so about a 50% win rate for this week. And then we basically know how we did last month at the top of the group. I go through and I just made sure that we know where we're coming from. We know because we're sending these trades in the public telegram for everybody to see last week and over the last month and things of that nature. So that's all I have to say for this video, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one. Safe trading.